And we are live. R&R with the Lord's returns for some Skywalker Star Wars action. We've been out of action for a little bit, but we got to talk about it, man. It's fresh out the theater. Shout out to iPick for letting us do this. But Solve, Kaibatsu in the building. What's going on, y'all? So we're going to get right to it. So. Now, look. I am the Star Wars fraud, so I'm going to defer to you. My feelings will be last. I'm going to defer to the expert, the man of Metacurians, the Lord who knows everything, whatever that is. We're going to defer. So, let's start with you. We just said it, Rise of the Skywalker. Give me those raw thoughts. How you feeling?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm a fraud in the sense that I've watched all the movies, I understand the movies, but beyond that, I don't know or follow anything of the universe beyond that. So, right? There's a lot of details in the universe that I don't particularly know about or necessarily care about. This 9-movie arc is in a lot of ways the arc of my life, of all our lives. This series been going 40 years.
I grew up with this.
Exactly. So. I'm going to be honest with you, I thought it was not a great ending to the series. In case you guys don't know, this is a full spoiler cast.
Sorry.
The first thing that I felt that they did wrong was, I think the Palpatine reveal in the marketing early on was stupid.
In what way?
I just feel like they start the movie off already with Palpatine having made his return known already.
Right.
And it takes away some of the gravity of that to know that this villain from so long ago is still pulling the strings in the background.
Right.
It didn't make a lot of sense to me. It took a lot of the wind out of the sails of the movie for me, because I thought it would have been a much stronger movie if in the middle of the movie you have that ish moment.
Yeah, I feel you.
Palpatine is behind everything.
Right. It was kind of early, like we knew early.
It was too early, and I think it took away a lot of the power and the gravity of the message of the movie. I just thought, in a lot of ways, another thing that I don't like about these trilogies is the fact that I think we learned from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, you should A, film them all at the same time. B, keep the same director throughout so that you have unity of vision.
And consistency.
And it felt in a lot of ways this movie was trying to right certain wrongs committed by The Last Jedi. And it's again, that's a subjective thing.
Right,
but I think you can tell by what J.J. Abrams did in Force Awakens and what he did here, that it felt like some of it was course correction. And in doing that, again, you take away some of the gravity and the power of a movie that's supposed to be ending a 9-movie arc.
Now, when you say course, I got to stop you for a second. When you say course correction, what do you feel that the errors that they were trying to fix that maybe people were upset about?
The fact, the entire thing with Luke in The Last Jedi indicating that the Jedi had to die, and he continuing to reinforce that, and then in this one, the Jedi, you're the last of the Jedi. Like, you say you're the last of the Jedi. I understand that I understand the thinking behind it. Like the old ways of the Jedi have to die. You have to understand that it's much more than that. Okay. And I think there's one statement that he made in The Last Jedi that he said, "The Force never belonged to the Jedi.
Right.
We're able to manipulate it, but it's much bigger than us."
Gotcha.
And I think Rise of Skywalker shows that, but I just think.
Didn't execute.
It didn't execute. It was super fan servicey in the fact that, all storylines are sort of tied off neatly and nicely. I honestly was not happy with the redemption of Ben Solo.
Ooh.
If you look at all these movies, the hero arc, and then in these type of movies, always you see the villain arc, where, especially in Star Wars, where you have the villain arc where this person meant to be a hero, this person who comes from a lineage of heroes, is turned, and then right at the end finds his way back. And I just think it's a corny trope that I wish they would have stuck to their guns, and Ben Solo's gone.
Gotcha.
And the fact that he came back was thoroughly disappointing. Wow. And then on top of that, he still dies.
Yeah. He got the redemption on the croak.
And that's on top of that, he gets the hero's death.
Okay.
I don't think he didn't earn that. He didn't earn that, and it just.
Sav's not a fan. I don't feel that.
It's one of those things. I rewatched. I skim watched Last Jedi this morning, to kind of freshen up for this, and I think it has better unity of vision, at least within that movie, right? Obviously, you have J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, and J.J. Abrams again. So there's a disconnect there.
Right.
But I think as a singular movie, the message it tells, it's still more coherent than this one.
All right.
There's too many strings they try to tie up.
Sav's not a fan. So I'm gonna bring this over to Kai Batsu. He was sitting right next to me during this whole thing, and there was some commenting and some eye rolling here and there. But overall, man, this would have clarified. Is this the end of the saga? This is it, right? This is the clarity. This is the.
From what I have heard, all right, this is the end of the Skywalker saga. A, B. They're not doing trilogies anymore. This is they'll do one-offs.
Okay.
But it won't be anything as on a grander scale as this again.
All right, so Kai Batsu, the floor is yours. On with the Lords. I need to know what you felt, man. Rise of Skywalker. What you felt?
Well, just before I start with this, one thing I just gotta let everyone know: I am a Star Wars fraud.
Star Wars frauds.
I've seen all the movies. I enjoyed the original trilogy, although I wasn't one of them. I enjoyed the original trilogy, although I wasn't one of the ones who kind of got obsessive over it. And then the prequel trilogy, my feelings with it was that the dialogue was absolutely horrible, quotable. But at least the story, it's just stiff, but at least the story itself was coherent, that you can understand what was going on. My problem with this trilogy has always been one thing. It seems like that it has great actors, and they have great acting ability, but the characters themselves, they really seem to have no gravitas to them, that they really had no substance to them. And with Rise of Skywalker, it came even more pronounced that now you have back the man, Ian McDiarmid, as Emperor Palpatine. He stole every single scene with him.
Oh, yeah, he's in there.
But like the one thing I was telling you during the movie, he's so good that he makes everybody else's character look like broccoli in comparison. Plain, bland. Like, why are these people here?
Right.
But my main problem in regards to this movie, and this is not even as a Star Wars fan, but just as a person who watches cinema, Rise of Skywalker should have been broken up into two movies. It was way too rushed.
Yeah, you talked about that. You mentioned a lot of plot.
Like the first hour jumped from location to location, and spent probably like 2 to 3 minutes. And then it got to the point that there were certain scenes that you couldn't even understand the progression. There's two scenes I just want to make straight with it. One of the scenes was when they met up on the planet so that way.
Old girl. Yeah, I don't know.
When they met up with on the planet so that they can unlock Droid's mind.
Right.
And the thing is, what was it, Poe? They met Poe's girlfriend on the planet. At first, she wanted to kill him.
Your brains will be splattered.
Your brains will be splattered. Then
Here's the key to the galaxy.
Then 5 minutes later, she says, like, yeah, I'm gonna be leaving soon. Here's my token to get out of these slums. And then 5 minutes later, she gave her his only key.
I'll say this. I think that was honestly. I think that moment it implied obviously history between them.
Clearly.
In a way. I don't think she ever wanted to kill him. She was mad at him, obviously. But I think she's in love with him, and I think it doesn't matter because it's implying. You know what? That's what.
From when they met her, they went directly to the mechanic, and then they escaped. Where is the timing on that? That was literally 10 minutes.
I'm gonna be honest. That's a moment that I feel is well done because it's not telling you everything. It's implying it, right? It's being smart. It's actually being somewhat respectful of the audience instead of, hey, by the way, these two had a relationship before. I get it, but
Can I get his balls off?
Yeah.
What else? I want to hear this.
Okay. I'm gonna keep with that one, but I'll pass by that one.
Really?
Then here's
The next one.
the next one. When they go to save Chewbacca, and they split up inside of the ship, and Rey goes to do her thing while Poe and I keep forgetting his name. Finn and Poe went to go save Chewbacca. Next scene, they went to go save Chewbacca. In the next scene, Chewbacca's fighting with them. Like, when did he get rescued? But I mean,
what I want to know is this: when in the middle of the rebellion did Finn have time to start getting dreads? That's what I want to know.
Salute to the dreads, though. Salute.
I continue.
Yeah, but when it comes down to that, comes with my biggest issue with the movie. It's just that it jumps around from place to place to place, and it has a bunch of fan service moments, but without no substance behind it, without no scene direction because of them. Like, also, like, they had the scene where Kylo, he did the whole Darth Vader choke out the subordinate thing on the ceiling. It's fan service, but how does it serve the scene? It doesn't.
They've nearly made the same movie 9 times.
Yeah, let me jump. Kai, you got your
That's pretty much my majority.
Listen, I hear what y'all saying. I mean, look, for me, again, I'm Star Wars for casual. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watched this thing since growing up as a kid. To me, Star Wars has always been that feel-good, intergalactic story, against all odds, us against them, the evil, the dark force. To me, like, Star Wars is a space movie with religious tropes. Like, there's like religion in Star Wars. It's weird. So, the whole force thing and all, I get it. But I don't take it too seriously. However, I do feel like they try to fan service a lot, like the Luke Skywalker classic ship, that whole stuff. And again, for me as a casual, I get it. And there were some feelings. I'm like, yo, I remember that. Okay, cool. I could understand, though, as a hardcore fan, how you could discuss it. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, this was the casual movie for me. I was like, okay, I see what they doing. I'm not saying it was a great movie. I'm just saying, like, to me, this is the joint you take your kids to. Everything ties up nicely in a bow. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. As far as the whole Kylo Ren and Rey relationship, very strange in the beginning. I thought they were going to do one thing, then it switched to something else. Then, okay, at the end with the Palpatine thing. Now, I agree with you, Kai. Palpatine to me stole the movie. Like, I'm here for all the Palpatine scenes. You know what I'm saying? All the like, that's my favorite.
Because he is the personification of evil.
Yes.
There's no wavering in him.
Yes.
He is one of the few characters that is completely unwavering in his in what he is and what he wants to do.
And everybody else felt conflicted. It's always a struggle. And, 1 minute, like, they're fighting her, but they're going to go to the death. Next minute, oh, I'm going to save you. So it's like that whole dynamic, I didn't feel the payoff was that great. It kind of felt a little flat towards the end. You know what I'm saying? The sacrifice and all that other stuff. The other thing is they straight killing off the OGs, y'all. They ain't got no respect for the OGs. OGs is out of here. You like homegirl, what's her name? Yeah, she's out. I mean, look.
They kept Lando.
They kept Lando.
Listen.
Shout out to Lando when he tried to get up with the young one and slip with the Colt 45. He tried to hit with the Colt
45.
Hey, girl.
Hey, shout out to Billy D being Billy D in everything. It is the same performance in every movie. Watch Batman 1989. It's Lando Calrissian. It's Billy D across. This Colt 45. Billy D is.
He's got to be 50, so he's out here.
Yeah, no, he got to be 70.
Billy D's out here.
So that boy see the young one. He was like, let's discuss this over a smooth Colt 45. I gotta respect the G.
Hey, shout out to Rey for the Rodimus Prime moment.
The
you got the touch.
You got the touch was in there. I ain't go front.
They said, "Arise, Rey."
Yes. You ain't like the callbacks though to all the people that had the Matrix and leadership from you ain't like that.
That was disgusting. I'm sorry. You ain't like that. Because once again, it's too fan servicey, and I don't feel that it was earned.
Okay.
And not that the character of Rey didn't necessarily earn that.
I liked her as an actress.
Oh no, not that the character of Rey didn't earn it in the movie. They didn't. Her progression through the movie didn't naturally lead to that point.
Okay, fair enough. I want to ask Kai a question in reference to the Kylo Ren character in general. His arc. I know when during that final scene you were grown and you were kind of explaining to me certain things about that whole exchange with Rey. Like, what's your whole feeling on his arc and the ending? How did you feel about that?
Thing is, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but for Last Jedi, the one thing I was kind of actually enjoying, and I was actually looking forward to, that when they were saying that they wanted to kill they wanted to end the Jedi line, what I thought Rian Johnson was gonna go with that movie was that instead of like the Jedi good and the Sith bad, that they were gonna try to make a new standard where both like
Could coexist.
both a duality. That's what I thought was actually gonna be going down in the full run. And I definitely, throughout the both movies, between Kylo Ren and Rey, I actually liked the interaction with them and the relationship that was going on. With that said, though, in this movie, it leads to my biggest complaint of the movie, where Rise of Skywalker should have been split into 2 movies. Thing is, every single story beat over there, it hit. Like, I can see them hitting in some way, shape, or form, but there was not enough time given to the people to give gravitas to the moment.
So continuing
Unplugged. As you can see, we've been relocated to parts unknown.
Continuing for parts unknown, give you that raw exclusive footage.
Man, you couldn't handle the truth of the Lord.
Exactly. They try to stop us, but we're going to continue this. So anyway, look, we're going to finish this thing off, man. Rise of the Skywalker, where are we at? We're talking about the Kylo Ren thing. You know what I'm saying? So where are we at now as a conclusion to the series and moving forward, so?
I think if you're a kid who came to Star Wars at the start of Force Awakens, or even if you've watched all the movies in the last couple of years and you're still, in your teens or whatever, I think you get a lot of fun out of that hero arc stuff, right? The hero story, the hero's path, because that's exactly what this is. It's very tropey, it's very safe. And I think in doing that, they missed the opportunity to especially make this second and this last trilogy have an identity of its own.
Right.
As much as people did not like The Last Jedi, and I didn't like a lot about it, it wasn't afraid to do some different things. Okay. And in retrospect and watching this one, I respect that now even more. Okay. I didn't say they necessarily did a lot of great things with it, but they had the courage to do some different things.
What was the part you felt was courageous?
Just the whole killing of the Jedi thing, right?
Oh, okay.
Because the thing is, my thing is that Luke goes back on that in this movie.
Yes.
Right?
I was wrong.
Right. So exactly. So it's one of those things. What you know? What? And again, that was where I felt JJ was like, this is course correction. And in course correcting, you made a samey movie. You made a samey movie, and just it killed any opportunity for it to have a lasting identity. I think the original trilogy. Does it hold up as well as it did when I was 10 years old? No, because I was 10 years old. But at the same time, I think it had a heart, and it did a lot of things first.
Right, I agree.
That, the following 6 movies just mimicked. And they were sort of afraid to really break away from that.
Gotcha.
And in the end, it's sad, because what I'm going to remember most about this 9-movie arc are the first ones that I saw when I was a kid.
The classic joint. So last question I got to you, Saul, before I give it to Kai. Like, do you think as far as the moving forward, do you think you would be interested in still seeing a standalone saga? Like, how would they move forward? Like, isn't it over, like, in a sense?
And that's another thing, right? Where I think the Force has always been about balance, right?
Right.
With good, you have to have evil.
That's my question.
So the story that's told here, evil has been obliterated.
Yeah, he was out of here.
Completely obliterated. Yeah. So once again, there's no balance now.
Yeah.
That's bad storytelling. I would be interested in seeing other types of stories in the Star Wars universe, a la The Mandalorian and things like that. Things that take other aspects of this universe and blow it out in a way that focuses on character.
Right.
Character and interactions between character. I've said this about heavily story-based games, and I'll say it about movies. The most important thing isn't the overarching story you're trying to tell. It's always about the characters, and do you care about them?
Right.
Do you care about what they're doing, and do you care about the people that they care about?
Okay.
And if you can nail that, everything else falls into place around it.
Okay. Fair enough. Lord Kaibatsu, the final one. Is it worthy of the trilogy? I mean, do you feel any more movies need to come about? Is it over? Like, where are you at with conclusion?
I think there's still a lot more opportunities in the Star Wars universe. I mean, as shown by The Mandalorian. I've only seen one episode, but from what I've
Gotta put it close.
I've only seen I've only seen one episode, but from what I've seen, those storytellers, they definitely know what's going on with the Star Wars universe, and because of The Mandalorian, and it's not strictly good versus evil, there's a little more leeway into giving more more, I wouldn't say interactive, but stories with more gravitas to it.
Okay.
So for the movie itself, I mean, I can't say for any of the big fans, but I can understand why they would be disappointed.
Right.
But as a movie viewer,
Yeah.
I stated it already. Rise of Skywalker should have been split into 2 movies.
Right.
Had good moments that could actually have, if they had been expanded on in further scenes, would have hit a lot harder. But with the rush nature, they just fell flat.
So would you want to see another movie spin-off? Like, is there a basis based on the evil, based on Palpatine's out of here right now? Like, do you feel there's any room for anything to continue forward, or anything should be like a prequel, old stuff?
Yeah, but they can always talk about that. Man is always going to lust for power.
Right.
And whether it may not be Sith or otherwise, they can always make a villain. And that's shown by the recent game, the Jedi Fallen Order, which was outstanding.
Shout out to Reese Warren.
Which is outstanding. They can make stories without the heavy hitters doing the heavyweight lifting. I mean, but I think they need to stay away from the trilogies. I think everyone needs to get away from doing that. Or let's do the trilogies to make it majestic. Just make a story on its own. If it takes 1 movie, if it takes 5 movies, do it. But don't limit yourself to just 3, because otherwise you're gonna get Rise to Skywalker.
No doubt. There we have it. I mean, for me, like I said, I've never taken the Star Wars series too seriously, as a result, though, I mean, I'm not excusing the movie. There were definitely some parts that, from a plot-wise, I felt it was rushed. I mean, other things I would say, like redemption arcs, kind of contrived on certain levels. There was some feel-good moments for me. I did feel there was some feel-good moments. I felt, obviously, the callbacks were emotional on certain levels. If you're a fan of that stuff, if you followed it for a while back, but that's why I agree with you. They were going hard with fan service. It almost felt like a redemption. We've got to get the Star Wars hardcore back on our side, kind of deal. That's the vibe I got from it. And the only thing I'm again, it's Star Wars forward. From the story, like you said, there's always been a balance with the good and the evil. The Sith, his whole plan, Palpatine, was to make her kill, show the hate. She takes over. That's aborted now. So now there's no evil, in a sense. So to me, it felt like a conclusion, like they're done, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. But but then again, there's money to be made.
There's definitely money to be made, but I think when they said, like, this is the end of the Skywalker saga, I don't know that you can take it any further. I don't know that I want to see these characters again, simply because the way it ended, it just feels like they went out of their way to have everyone have such a sort of feel good moment, redemption arcs and everything, that I would find it even more contrived if they tried to bring them back in some way, shape, or form.
And real quick, how the hell Palpatine came back? Just real quick, I don't know how he came back.
According to that, it's funny because when you look at the original trilogy, there was a moment when he sat down with Anakin before he changed them, and he told the story. Well, he was telling the story of his master. Right. So do you know, like, the Sith, they can only be 2 at a time.
Right.
They can only be a master and a student.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
So that was the story. Darth Plagueis. That was his master.
That was his master.
So he told him the story of how he killed his master and took over.
And that's okay.
And in doing so, he sort of absorbed Plagueis' power. It's my understanding.
Right.
Which was a power that allows him to sort of defy death.
Got you. Okay.
And if you caught that in the original trilogy, well, not the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy. Then maybe you could have inferred that he would come back at some point.
Were you buying, last thing, both of you buying the whole Rey's lineage, parenting, the whole, did you guys buy that? Were you cool with her being a Palpatine, so to speak?
Oh, yeah, I was, I mean, but once again, it was too perfect. It's too perfect, and I get it. Like, they're telling her story. It was just, it doesn't feel like, you gotta understand, like, I don't know, I've changed, my tastes have changed as I've grown up. Like, I want to see intricate stories, and this wasn't an intricate story. When you look at it, it was very safe.
Okay.
And like I said, in essence, if you look at every single movie, in some way, shape, or form, they've just recycled and regurgitated certain tropes from each movie over and over again.
I feel that.
It's in the end, you told one super long
Right.
singular arc.
Right.
That it's the very basic battle between good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, the people that represented evil
Mm-hmm.
were all redeemed except the ultimate evil.
Yeah.
And he got what was coming to him,
Yeah.
right? I honestly,
Yeah.
I want more courage.
Yeah.
I want courage.
I feel it, again, 'cause these are great points. So I was killing it right now. I think the last thing I'll say is that sometimes when it's a series with this kind of history, with this kind of backing, I think of like video games. Like, there's such a fan base. So I think what it is the courage to do what you want, which would actually probably take it to the next level. They're so afraid of probably pissing off that hardcore and doing it. And I think maybe is it a little bit of backlash with the Luke thing from last, when people were livid. A lot of my hardcore guys were livid with that. So again, I get it. It's a tough situation to be in, as a director. Also changing directors, that's tough too. But look, my feeling, above average. That's probably where I would rate it. You know what I'm saying? You guys, yeah.
It's done. I mean, in the words of Kylo Ren, he was like, "Yeah, forget the past, kill it if you have to, kill it dead."
So average, what's your rating?
Okay, I'm just gonna say the same thing that they said after the Truman Show. Yay! What else is on?
Oh, damn. And there you have it. R&R with the Lords, you know what I'm saying? A little relocation last minute, we still gonna get it done. You already know. And of course, you can catch Iron Law Podcast on Sundays, 11 a.m., probably the last 11 a.m. of 2019 before we go. You ain't feeling that. But we going back. Addict, King, you're gonna be happy it's coming back. And of course, catch The Last Word with myself and Ebontis on Fridays. And of course, King of the Statues, my man King, Lord King David with those hot statues. But yeah, that's what we got, man. Roundtable reviews, live and direct. Star Wars, Rise of the Skywalker. Everybody enjoy your day. Peace.